Hey everybody. So today we're going to do a little bit of a different type of video, but it's kind of along the lines of that last one where I discussed lighters and myths and misconceptions. And this one's a little bit more, I don't know, it might offend people. I really don't know. It's not meant to. This is meant for pure information purposes, but uh, now keep in mind you should never go up to someone while they're enjoying a cigar and tell them, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. Let them do their thing. Uh, it's never worth it to, you know, interrupt that kind of enjoyment, and however they want to do it is fine. Let them do it that way. But anyway, I came across just a wonderful resource, and I'm going to link you to it. You may have to copy and paste the link because lately I noticed YouTube won't let me link it right here in your screen unless it's a link to another YouTube video. So I'm going to have to probably put it down there in the description, and you can just copy and paste into your browser, uh, and go there. But basically, I have tried this method that's described, and I personally think that it is very, very good. Now, you'll have to adjust it a little bit to suit your own techniques, but as a starting point, this resource is excellent. And basically what it explains is how to properly light, smoke, and maintain while it's burning a cigar. This may seem simple, you think you already know how to do it, whatever. I'm telling you, read it, because I've actually yet to come across a single person anywhere I've gone that actually knew about the techniques that are described in this write-up. Now, I've seen it mentioned online. What I'm saying is I've never actually run into anyone who knew all of this stuff. They might know bits or pieces. And a lot of people actually give bad information that is the exact opposite of what is mentioned here. And I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all, but what I am saying is after trying what is mentioned here, I can tell you with absolute certainty that for me, every claim on here has been reasonable and has resulted in me experiencing way more enjoyment, far more flavor. Like, actually, let me rephrase that, cleaner flavor. So you will detect much more pure flavor using these techniques, and it's just a very different experience. Now, some people aren't going to like it because it's more work, but basically what you're doing is, for one, when you light it, you never want to char it, and you actually don't want to light the wrapper. A lot of people light the wrapper and turn around, turn the cigar, lighting the wrapper, and let it burn in after they've lit, most of the perimeter. They'll get it burning, then they'll take a few draws with the lighter in front, turn around, blow on it, and then you're good to go, basically good to go. But if you read this, basically if you've charred it, you've already ruined the first quarter inch. There's a pretty good description in here as to how to light it, and unfortunately this is only going to work outside with a torch. Inside it'll work well with a match or a natural flame. And another thing they recommend here, and I think this is a good idea, is an alcohol torch. Not butane, but an alcohol torch. It's used often in dentistry. And let me give you the name of this, Hanau, Hanau, alcohol torch. Now, they're kind of expensive, but you can find them, and they run off denatured alcohol, which is just ethyl alcohol with some methyl alcohol added, and it's you don't want to drink it, but it will run this torch just fine. It shouldn't impart any flavor, nasty flavor in, and you can adjust the flame from like a real concentrated flame down to a wispy flame. Now I don't have one, and I will be getting one though. But anyway, it's big and unwieldy, so it's only for at home, indoors, or maybe on the porch. Anyway, check this out. I think you're going to find it interesting. Another thing that it discusses is purging the cigar continually as you smoke it down and taking much smaller draws. If you've got smoke billowing out everywhere, you're simply not getting the flavors that you would be if you were taking less of a draw. And I tried all this out. It's amazing the difference. So first of all, when you purge it regularly, you'll notice that you're not left with any real strong aftertaste. Now, there's still a finish, but there's no aftertaste like you would normally get if you just smoked the cigar, taking a draw every 60 seconds, burn it all the way down, and you never purge it. Purging it is actually blowing through the cigar and rotating it while you do that. Basically, this heats the cherry and burns off the impurities in the cherry, and because you're blowing through it, as those are burned off, they leave the cigar rather than getting drawn into it. And then after you've purged it, you let it cool down. Now it's clean. You take a draw, very small, not too big, and you run some of that, you retrohale, run some of that through your nostrils, and because you've taken a small draw, it doesn't burn or sting. It's comfortable to do, and that allows you to get the bouquet, which is different from the aroma. The bouquet is what you're going to experience when you retrohale. Now, I tried this, I actually did this today with a La Flor Dominicana Cameroon cabinet. Amazing. The flavors that I experienced using this method were unbelievable. I'm talking like cinnamon, peanut, it had that Cameroon flavor that I've tasted before was just so intensified. It wasn't overly overbearing, but I mean it was very obvious, and it wasn't drowned out by burned, nasty aromas that I didn't even realize I was getting in the past. I just recommend you read this thing and then try it on a cigar that you've smoked a good amount and you kind of already know the profile of. Now, I'm sure a lot of you actually already know about this, but try this out after you read this. If you don't do what this write-up says, try it out, because I think you're going to be really surprised at the difference it's going to make in flavor. Now, it may not be something you want to do all the time. There's a little more work. It's probably not, if you're after intoxication, if you really need that nicotine, it might not be the best option for you because, of course, you're taking smaller draws less often, and when you purge, of course, rather than bringing that smoke into your mouth, you're pushing it out. So it's kind of like, you've wasted a draw. But at the same time, it makes the next draw way, way cleaner. Now, if you purge continuously, regular intervals, you're pretty much the entire first half of the cigar is going to be clean. I mean, wow. Then you'll notice after the halfway point, it's going to start, going downhill from there. And of course, they recommend stopping at the halfway point, and that's it. Now, I don't like doing that with an 8, even a $5 cigar. That's just not me. I stop with the last third. I like to stop with about that much, of it left. Now, also using this technique, you can put your finger 1/8 of an inch. You should be able to if you're doing it right. 1/8 of an inch from the burn line, and you should be able to hold your finger there. Now, 1/8 of an inch. I'm talking about that far. You put your finger right there, and it shouldn't really be. I mean, it might be warm, but it's not gonna be like ow. If you do all this correctly, I think you're gonna love it. So this is just something cool I thought I'd pass on. If you don't like the idea, if you don't need the idea, don't worry about it. I'm not telling anyone they're doing anything wrong. We each enjoy this in our own way. But you should give it a try, see if you like it. For me personally, I found that it made the flavor part of this way more interesting, and I think a lot of people aren't fully getting what they could out of a cigar because they're not really using this kind of technique. Now, again, though, if what you want is something else, if you're not after only flavor and you're after, lots of smoke, lots of, feeling the little bit of a rush from the nicotine, all that, if that's what you're more after, this might not be for you. But if what you want to do is detect the flavors and aromas of your cigar, this technique is flawless as far as I'm concerned. Now it says it's for Cuban cigars, but trust me, it works on everything. It's in general, it's good, and basically this technique is the technique that people use when they're blending, at least at this particular. You wouldn't call it a factory. I'm trying to. The name's escaping me, but anyway, at this particular farm, this is the technique that they use when they're blending to see, how a cigar is, and then they rate the cigar based on this. But I'm telling you, it's something else. You're going to be very happy with what happens if you follow this, and if you're the type of guy or gal that's about flavor. All right, I've rambled on long enough. Please let me know if you go and do this. Please comment or make a video response, whatever. Let me know whether or not this worked for you, how you liked it, etc. And if it's a useful thing to you, please spread it around. I have no, affiliation with this, but I just found it to be a very useful resource. And it's hard to find it's hard to find all this in one place, really clearly written. Now, there are some errors in the way it's written. It's not perfect English. Some of the grammar, spelling, that kind of thing's off, but you'll get the general picture enough to do what you need to do and then make minor adjustments from there in the future. So yeah, try it out at first on a cigar that's less, I wouldn't try it out on a $15 cigar. Try it out on, a $6 to $8 cigar that is really good. I just don't want you to try it out and like really have something go wrong or something. But try it out. Tell me what happens. All right, y'all. See ya.